Alrighty, guys. So we're gonna do a little bit of another coding topic today. It's something you've actually used quite a bit of, or at least something like it. We're gonna be talking about coroutines. Now, coroutines are a super useful tool um, that you've kind of already used because we've all used update. Update is kind of a coroutine. It's kind of one that Unity just gives you. And you may have programmed something that had a bunch of if checks in your update function. You say, hey, only do this when this is true, or because we know update happens every frame. So obviously, if you have a whole lot of code in your update function, you might not want all of that code happening all the time. However, there's generally a better solution to that, and that's called using update. Or I mean, wow, I'm sorry, rewind. That's called using coroutines. Coroutines are essentially, you could think about, they happen every frame just like update does, but you can decide when they start and stop. They're like little pocket dimension updates. Um, we're going to go ahead and write one that simply just prints to the console. Um, let's go ahead and go to our project settings and make a script called coroutine example. You can see I've already done that here. And then let's go ahead and open it up. Now, don't look at all this just yet. Um, what we're going to need, it's going to be a very simple script, is one boolean that is going to say, hey, the coroutine should run. Okay? Then we have to actually make the coroutine, and the way we do that is with an it's written just like a function, so we start with either public or private. In this case, go ahead and make it public. Um, then we use this keyword called IEnumerator. You could think of enumerating, which would mean like increasing a number, going over, cycling through, as our update. This is what actually allows us to constantly rotate through frames and do things every frame. And then I just called this simple coroutine. All we're going to be doing is printing this out. So we have our public, we have the fact that this is a coroutine, and then we have the name. I'm going to go ahead and expand it. Now, coroutines generally need a condition. They need to say, hey, when should this be happening? You don't necessarily, I believe, need that. You really need this yield return null. Just like when we do normal functions, we need a return. A coroutine requires a yield. No, I guess it doesn't require a yield, but yield will. The yield, it really just allows you to do more functionality post this return after things have on every iteration and after your condition has been met. So let me go ahead and put this while back. We can see that the while run our coroutine equals true, we're going to print this out. So now this by itself does not just simply run, okay? It can it needs to actually be started. And Unity C Sharp in general gives us a wonderful function called start coroutine. And you can see I put this in our start method because we know start happens at the beginning of every frame, right? So start coroutine takes a coroutine. It takes an IEnumerator. So we simply put our coroutine in the parentheses here, and just like you're calling a function, throw it in there. Now, let's go ahead and save this, and we should see that. We'll go put it on roux real quick. We'll do coroutine example. And now this immediately would not work because we would get into our coroutine. It would start immediately, and it would say only do this while run our coroutine equals true, and we would see that this does not happen because run our coroutine does not equal true. We get no printing. And if we turn it on, we also get no printing because it started and immediately stopped. That's kind of the power of using coroutines, is it's not going to keep running after it's done. Now if I turn this on by default and go ahead and hit play, we'll see that run that coroutine has started. Okay, and it's all coming right from here. Now if I turn this off, we'll see that it stops printing. And if I turn it back on, it still does not continue again. You would have to restart. So you do have to use, sometimes you have to use things like update. So I could say public void update if run our coroutine equals true, start coroutine simple coroutine. Now, this theoretically would work. However, like, it would get the coroutine running, but we would continually start more iterations of our coroutine. This would actually likely crash our app, crash our game, because run our coroutine update happens every frame. This would just keep making more and more instances of that coroutine. So we have to cache it. We've all heard of clearing our cache in like browsers and stuff like that. But we can make a variable called cached simple coroutine and say only do this if cached simple coroutine equals null. Okay, now this is almost done. We're just about there. The thing is, we never set cache simple coroutine to anything. So let's go ahead and take this, and whenever we start this coroutine, set it equal to it, because start coroutine returns the coroutine we have here. So once it starts, it goes and it kind of like hands off the baton and says, hey, anybody who needs to keep track of this, here it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here as well. And now we should be able to turn on and off the run our coroutine. When we start it, it should print out just like we would expect. Turn it off, it turns off just like we would expect. I clear my console, and when I turn it back on, it doesn't work. Wonderful. Yes. Okay, we have to say that afterwards cached coroutine equals null. We have to clear out that cache essentially. Now let's go ahead and try that one more time. That's not working the way I want. Let's pause. Right. We have to clear that cache. So we have to go ahead and say that after we're no longer running the coroutine, that we have to say that the cache is cleared. We have to set cache simple coroutine equal to null. So now we should be able to come over here and turn on and off our print statements here. So we'll see it's printing just like we would expect. When I turn this off, it stops, and I'm going to go ahead and clear my console here, and when I start it again, we'll see that it begins running once again. Now, this only works because we're, after our while statement, putting in this cache simple coroutine equals null. It basically cleans up for us. So that way then next time run coroutine is set equal to true, we can go ahead and say, yep, let's start a new one. And that's the wrap up about coroutines for the most part. There are many different ways you can use this. There's other types of enumerators, but this is one of the most simple and easiest way to clean up your update functions, where you're going to be using this specifically when we start working on enemy AI and state machines, because it just makes it a lot easier to keep track of things. But everybody, thanks for watching, and if you have questions, leave them in the comments or message me on Discord.